Here with reaction, Fox News contributor, former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. Okay, this is a much better night. Callista will be less angry about tonight's question rather than Whoopi Goldberg and her question. What was your Operation Destroy and Dump Joe Biden is underway. It looks like it's being led by Obama. Will they be successful?
I'm not sure. If Biden doesn't want to leave, I don't see any mechanism to make him leave. He got over 14 million votes. Nobody else got any significant number. All these people out there now. So we're supposed to be told that 14 million Democrats around the country don't matter because the senator from Vermont would like Biden to step down. Well, talk about not being part of democracy. You know, the Democrats have spent 3 years talking about how much they love democracy, except when it's inconvenient. If Biden, put yourself in Biden's shoes. He's very angry. He feels he's been betrayed by Obama. He feels that the elites, and he says this, that all the elites who he thought were his friends have turned on him. But he's in the White House. He's got 14 million votes. He has virtually every delegate. So they have to create an uprising which leads over half the delegates to break their word and decide they're going to dump Biden. And here's the question, for who? You're going to dump Biden for Kamala Harris? I did a column last week describing collapsing with Kamala. I mean, Kamala's much weaker than Joe Biden. She was the czar of the border for 3.5 years and went to the border one time while 8 or 9 or 10 million people were coming across illegally. One time. If I were, a normal Republican, I'd say, make my day. Give me Kamala. Don't worry about Joe. But why would Joe do that? And I don't see Joe and Hunter and Jill getting in a room and going, gee, I guess we ought to go back to Delaware to make all of our friends happy. What I see them doing is every time somebody walks in and says you ought to leave, they just check off enemy, enemy, enemy. And remember, the cognitive decline he's getting very often manifests itself as anger and as rejection of reality. So anybody who's dealt with a relative who's had these kind of problems knows they can get very stubborn. They can suddenly have bursts of temper. And my guess is that Joe Biden, if Barack Obama went to see him tomorrow, Biden would just say, I am really deeply disappointed in you. I served you loyally, and you stabbed me in the back. And I don't think that would affect him and make him leave.
I think you're probably right. I think that would happen. It's very interesting. I think I agree with Ari in a lot of ways that in a certain way, tonight was a successful night for Biden. Putting aside mixing up Putin and Zelensky and calling Donald Trump Vice President Trump, short of that and short of the usual, as I've been saying, the whispering, the yelling, the high energy, low energy. I mean, it's been there for all of these years. And then I go back to the big issue of what is, what Mike Johnson referred to as the biggest cover-up in American politics and history. At least it's up there. Your thoughts as a historian?
Well, I think you can make an argument that it's probably the biggest collective cover-up. Woodrow Wilson had a stroke, and his wife took care of him for about the last 8 months of the presidency, and she really made the decisions and wouldn't let anyone else in the room. But that was an unusual moment. People knew he was ill. I think the degree to which people, particularly like the New York Times, NBC, etc., the degree to which they refused to see what was happening in front of their very eyes is astonishing. And had they told the truth, he wouldn't be the nominee and we wouldn't be where we are right now.
All right, Mr. Speaker, as always.